What's up, guys? How you doing? This is Rob here with a billion lies. So I have a story of the day. This is September 15th right now. By the time you guys read this, you'll probably watch this. It's going to be published in October. So real simple. I'm just a leader within the organization that I work with, and I always like to always be involved in the meetings with like people who aren't necessarily the leaders, since there's multiple meetings. And so a lot of these guys, I guess they have trust in me. I guess they just, because I'm always like around, they always ask me for different types of advice and all those other kind of things, and I'm just producing fairly well compared to others at the moment. Just at the moment, I'm not going to say I'm going to be the best producer, the top producer every single month or anything like that. But so he comes up to me, he's like, because I hadn't seen him for a while, and he's like, yo, dude, congrats on all the things you've done like this past week. I'm like, hey man, thanks. Da da. He starts asking me some questions, and then it leads to another question, to another question, to another question. Next thing you know, like, okay, dude, come on, just come to my car. Let's just start talking. Long story short, 28-year-old guy, 2 kids, recently became homeless, was a military guy, went through troubles with the law. I don't want to explain exactly what, but him explaining to me how the story went down. A lot of it was kind of like a bad timing-ish situation, so it looked worse than it really was. And so really people just saw a third of what happened, and he got in trouble for it. And it's unfortunate, and that like messed up a lot of things for him when it comes to military and work and whatever else. And he was just telling me all this stuff, and he was like lost. He was aimless. He had no purpose and nothing. Like honestly, he kind of like he was ready to give up in life, and I hope he didn't. I haven't spoken to him in 5-6 hours, and I hope he's a good. I hope, like, that's all I care about, and I hope I can continue helping him. So I'm gonna ask you guys the similar questions that I asked him, because talking to him, I don't think you guys been asked these type of questions either. And I wrote down a list of maybe 200, 250 different questions in regards to what we spoke about, because it's an exercise that I've done before more than once in my life over the last 10 years, probably 4 or 5 times or so, maybe around 4 times, maybe 5. And it's helped me out a lot. And a lot. These are questions that people don't necessarily get asked. But I don't have the list of questions here on my phone somewhere. But the very very first question I asked him that like started to stump him was, "What is your dream? Like, what is your dream? Do you guys know what your dream is? Like, do you know what that entails? There's 7 different facets of life that you have to go ahead and get really really good at. It's financial, spiritual, physical, social, environmental. I can't remember the other 2 at the moment, to be honest. I'll think about it while I'm here. Emotional, and I'll remember. I don't know. But either way, these are different facets of our lives that each one of us have to figure out for to have a complete life. If you don't figure out every single part of these lives, your life doesn't have fulfillment, may not have purpose. You might become extremely wealthy because you probably focus strictly on financial, but then you forgot about the emotional part. And that means when you're 50 years old, you're divorced 3 times, kids are everywhere, you're kind of alone, sad, depressed, all this type of stuff, because you forgot different aspects of your life that are super, super important. And so I asked him the wizard, he's like, immediately, he's like, he just stayed quiet for maybe 2 minutes. And then I asked him, okay. It's like, well, okay, then what is your dream? Like, what's your like financial goal? Like, how much money would you want to earn in a year? Or, you know, like what kind of father would you want to be for your kids? Or like, what does that entail? Like, what kind of living situation would you want to live? Do you want to be debt free? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And as I asked him more questions, he started giving me answers. But they're like very like basic generic questions, answers, because he never thought about it before. And I challenged him, and he's like, the more I challenge, he's like, dude, I have no fucking idea. I don't know any answers to any of these questions. So this is the metaphor I gave him. I was like, hey, look, let's say you got an arrow and you shoot it. What are you hitting? He's like, well, hopefully with faith, something hits. I'm like, why are you hoping? Hoping means you're gonna go around the fire. Faith means you're gonna fucking go through the fire. Go through it. Jim Carrey talks about it better than anyone else. Like, if you don't have a target, you're never going to hit it. And even if, like, let's say you set down some type of goals, you don't need to tell anybody. Silence is golden. If you don't have something to aim at, what makes you think you're ever gonna hit it? And he's like, well, hopefully it'll hit. I was like, no, you're not gonna hit shit. It's like, look, life, the universe, God, the source is a bakery. And you want the breadcrumbs off the table. You don't deserve the breadcrumbs off the table. You deserve the fucking bakery. You can get every single loaf of bread, from white to French to whole wheat to multigrain, the whole benign. You can get from the paninis to the baguettes to the big old loaves to the Cuban bread to the bagels to the slice of whatever. You can have all of it. But why are you limiting yourself from the possibilities of having the whole thing? And he stayed there stumped, and he had no idea. Like, he was adopted, he grew up very poor. All this, I said, look, man, the little bit you've told me is exactly what I've done in my own life. And if it's anything like it, you're identifying yourself with who you were yesterday. Like, yesterday doesn't exist, tomorrow doesn't exist, only today, only the present exists. In other words, if only today exists, who do you want to believe you are today? Who do you want to become today? Like, like, ask him, he's like, I don't know. It's like, I want to be a great father. I want to have a good life. I want to have peace. So, like, some of the answers start coming out because he starts really thinking about it. So I was like, dude, let me buy you lunch. I bought him lunch because he's going through shit. And then I went ahead. I was like, dude, here, we went to Five Below. I was like, look, find a journal, the one that calls out to you, pick it out, make him pick up journal, get him a pen. It's like, okay, you're going to write down everything that's in your mind. Anything you're possibly think of, you're going to write in mind. And I'm going to write down a series of questions. It's like 200 to 150 questions. It took me 5 hours to write them all. On top of, like, doing my appointments I had today and other work, and doing some, like, stuff for other people and things like that. It took me over 5 hours, and it's not done, honestly. And it just made me think, like, reason why all of us are not owning just the bakery, but the entire franchise, the entire warehouse, the entire structure, the entire agricultural land we grow the wheat in. It's because you're not specific enough. You're not defined enough. You're not visualizing enough. You're not putting yourself in the method where you can paint the picture and you can visualize it and you can hope for it and then you can work your butt off for it. Because it's not just thinking it and believing it and have, like, all this kumbaya and hakuna matata, like, that this is going to happen. No, it's like, I need to have a goal. You need to be specific. And it's like I told you, the moment you have something down, what's the next thing you do? You want to avoid analysis paralysis. In other words, you go and work your ass off. You go and you do what you got to do to make it happen. Is it going to be easy? No. Honestly, once you have a target and you just start working really hard for it, the universe is going to do this. It's going to give you more problems, more bullshit, more this, more that, blah, blah, blah. Because it wants to see if you really want it. And I've gone through that more than once. And basically my path of success was like this. It was like, and then went up, and then it stayed, and then went up a little bit more, and then went choom, and then I figured it out, stagnated, went back up, popped up here, stagnated a little bit, went back down, and then went up again, and then I went here, stagnated, and I'm like, over here. And now my goal is to go way up here past the screen and not come down again. But no matter what, every time I go up, I never go back down lower. That's how my life is. And is it stressful? Oh my God, man. Yeah, it's stressful. But I've learned a lot from it, and I know why a lot of it has happened, why this part's happened, these parts happen. Because you stop focusing on your freaking goals, you get lazy, you get lethargic, you get comfortable, and then you just don't do what you're supposed to do. And honestly, man, you don't want to go through that. It sucks. You have to stay very, very, very focused, very disciplined, very consistent, day in, day out, night in, night out, 24 hours a day. Right now, I'm trying to make one video per day. I schedule it out for a week at a time. My goal right now is just to have, 52 videos for the year, and then eventually I'm going to go back to these videos, and I'm going to crop them out, create shorts out of all of them, and then schedule them out 3 days after each video, and then do the next one 3 days after that video, so on and so forth, and then try to build a rhythm. I'm not doing these videos right now to make money, because I'm not going to make money. I probably wouldn't actually start making money with the video with the amount of content I'm putting out there for like 2 years, like decent money is what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know. Like, most likely this video, no one's ever going to watch it. This video is going to pop off in 8-9 years when I'm actually something, because someone decided to go through the entire channel. It's like, oh, let me see what this video is. And it just pops off. And that'll be really cool to look back on. But like I was telling him, it's like, when you're following the path of entrepreneurship, it's one of the hardest things you're ever going to do, because it requires a lot of stoicism. It requires education from every single aspect that you could possibly think of. It requires you to have an open mind. It requires you to control your emotions. For me, that's been the most important thing. It's like he says, like, I've always been reactive, not proactive. It's like, okay, well, stop being a woman in that type of situation, because that's what you can't not do. In this world, as a man, you get judged heavily for little things like that. Heavily. And so it's like you basically have to be at your best behavior at any given time. Is it challenging? Yes, but it only gets easier as time continues to go on. Physically, everything you could possibly think of, every little thing matters. And it's like, look, man, you went through your nonsense because you had one emotional outburst. That's where you messed up. If everyone knew the entire page of the story, even though they would be on your side, they would have agreed with the woman. He's like, no, like, I get it. You did actually, it was 100% her fault, but we're blaming you. Like that's what is the story. So it's like, look, man, in this country, if you're not in like coastal cities or major metropolitan cities, or you're talking about Miami, New York, LA, Chicago, San Francisco, Sacramento, Houston, Dallas, pretty much it. Everywhere else, you don't have a dream. None of you. You really don't. Like, because no one asks you, what is your dream? What is your short-term goal? What is your midterm goal? What is your long-term goal? Like, what is your 1 year, your 5 year, your 10 year, 20 year, 50-year plan? Like, where would you want to travel to? What do you want to own? Do you want to own these cars? Like, how many cars? How many car garages do you want? How many bedrooms? How many baths? Do you want to go on a yacht? How many, like, do you want to be debt-free? Do you want to be free? Like, do you believe in God? What's your faith? Like, what's your source? What's your belief? Like, how are you, like, what kind of education do you have? Like, are you asking yourself questions on this side and then qualifying it in the middle? Nobody does that. Very little people do that, especially if, like, Californians. Like, you guys don't do that crap. That's why the entire state is in shambles. Because you're like, oh no, Democrats are the best way there is, even though they've been ruining your fucking state for 40 years, and that state should be the best state in the entire country. Why? Because you don't qualify. I mean, the person who taught me how to qualify was my teacher, David Menashe. He wrote the book with the priority list. I highly recommend it. He died in 2014. The day of Thanksgiving, his favorite holiday, or the day before his favorite holiday was, I don't remember exactly now. But he always said, the best essays you can ever write is to qualify. But most teachers, they will tell you, do not qualify. Do not qualify. Why? Because it means you have to be able to acknowledge and point out both sides of the story and then make up your own personal conclusion within each side of the truth. So teachers are like, no, just pick a side or pick this side, pick that side, whatever, just pick a side. No, don't pick a side. Find the truth that's somewhere in the middle. Like what you guys are this piece of bread or that piece of bread. But you know what's better? The peanut butter and jelly. That's the best part. That's the best part. So you gotta figure out what that means, what that is. And it's not easy, dude. Like it really isn't. Like I go through the troubles of it every single day. It's like a guy called me now asking for my advice. And I told him everything I know. I was like, dude, this is what people will say. This is what it doesn't say. Like if you decide to do it, like this is what I suggest. This is what you must do. This is why people fail, and this is why people succeed. These are like I gave him everything on every single side of the story. I was like, okay, well look, so and so. Again, I'm one perspective. You have to develop a global worldview. Yeah, we're in a world of globalization, a world of globalism, meaning people's opinions do matter, not just from one state or your neighborhood or your village. People's opinion everywhere matter in some way, and the only way to find the truth is to learn from everybody and then underwrite all of the things that you learned. Don't go on just the first 3 pages of Google. I'm talking about go to page 77, and then don't use Google Chrome. Use DuckDuckGo and Brave, and add your VPN. Multiple countries. We're talking about India and China and Japan, and United States and South America. Because you know why? All the information that comes out on just the first page of Google is different every single time. So what makes you think that just because a certain business decided to put out more content, it's better or it's correct? It's not. So you gotta go ahead and figure out how to evaluate that. And that's what I was even telling the guy. I said, look, how do you know the story you told yourself is true? Just because you went through it, what makes you think it's true? How do you know you haven't been lying to yourself this entire time? The entire world can be wealthy. Entire world, easily. But you know why it won't happen? One, competition instead of creativity. There's no competitive collaboration to create more creativity, meaning the 5% of the people want, and 5% out of the 5% of people, 1% of them, so 20% of them wants the world to be freaking poor. That's why, like, imagine you watch the news, like, people are coming out with the truth. They're like, yeah, we realizing now, like, Joe Biden is a fucking idiot. Yes, we realize it now. Like, yes, he has dementia. Yes, he has Alzheimer's. But it took until he ruined the country 3 years into his presidency to acknowledge that. And most of you that are going to watch this, like, I'm still not going to acknowledge that, but you're going to know in your head, like, he's right. But you won't say that publicly because you have to be right. Because your state says it's right. You're a fish. You're a guppy. You know who gets eaten by guppies? Sharks and whales. You want to be a shark and whale. And sharks and whales are the ones who win the money. That's why they say, like, for example, in Bitcoin, what whales have, like, at least 1,000 Bitcoin, and a shark has, like, or a whale has 10,000, and a shark has, like, 1,000. I don't know the scales of it. But it's a lot of money. I can tell you that. It's always a lot of money. And so it's just reviewing, like, what is truth, reviewing, like, what is the story you've told yourself. Is your story right? Is it correct? Is it valid? Is it accurate? Is it precise? Like, I go through days all the time, like, less than before, like, or compared to, like, years ago. But even today, like, I have days I feel like shit. I don't feel confident. I don't have self-esteem. All this stuff, all the time. Do I like it? No. Does other people like it? Of course not. Is it easy? No. But like the only way I can do is I have to snap out of it and be like, look, like, What I went through yesterday isn't who I am today. That's only there to make me a better person, a better man today. Yes, it is not there to negate what I'm meant to be. It's meant to improve who I'm going to be. And a lot of people, what they do is like, look, okay, so I'm going to say the same sentence twice with one word difference. Everybody has every reason in the book for your successes and for your failures. Everybody has every excuse in the book for your successes and your failures. The only difference is one word, and it means the same thing. It's the same definition. There's nothing different to it. One is like you're acknowledging that it was an excuse. The other person is saying, "Oh, that's my reasoning," but honestly, it's just an excuse. It's the same thing. The one person is just being real about it. The other one's just faking it because they're afraid of continuously failing. That's the only difference. But it means exactly the same thing. And sometimes, no, a lot of times, that is the hardest thing any of us can ever possibly do. It's like I even told him, like, dude, man, all the time I've been lazy for sure, and because of that, I'm not more successful as I want to be. But it's cool. It's life. It's you learn from it, and you have to grow exponentially. And I have to grow exponentially in the sense like I have to learn quicker. I have to act more, and I have to find more results quicker. And the only way to do that is you work harder with more focused discipline. That's why I stopped smoking weed. I stopped masturbating. I stopped doing a lot of stuff. It took me until I was almost 30 years old to do that. I'm not proud of that, but I stopped. Like it's over. Like I'm finding God. I'm reading books, Bibles, guitar. Like I've read most of those books there, and I had bookshelf 3 times its size. But when I moved here to the state, I couldn't take them all. And it's cool. It is what it is. Sometimes less is more. But like you gotta you gotta just figure it out for yourself, my boy. Like my boy, my girl, like my you like if you identify as a horse, then I identify you as shit, horse shit. Like fuck that. That's stupid. Um, it's not easy, and it's not. And some of you, you're walking around aimlessly, you're walking around purposeless because you're afraid to ask yourself the hard questions. The reason why I was smoking weed is because it was to numb the pain, not to confront it. And I had to learn to confront it. And that's why I had to stop. I had to go towards the pain and get through it, go over the threshold and move on with my freaking life. Think about it. Why is all the blue states legalizing weed and not the red states right now? Because they want you to be weak. And that's what really changed my mind on it. It was like, yeah, all these blue states are legalizing it, and they're all legalizing just every single drug. I don't know how I feel about the legalization of every single drug like I thought it did once before, like Portugal and Oregon. And Oregon's even getting worse. It's not good. And I told him a million different things. I wrote down like 250 questions all about it. Yeah, and maybe I'll write like an ebook out of it 'cause it took me a while and I can get in more depth and whatnot. I don't know. But I don't know what else to really say. I just have to give you that little story about my friend because I feel like a lot of you feel how he feels. And I told him, I was like, dude, honestly, when you start hitting targets, everything gets harder. And I get it, man. There's probably days you just want to cry yourself to sleep and take long showers and all that other kind of stuff. And he just laughed. He's like, because it's true. I'm like, dude, like, it's cool, bro. Like, once or twice, we all go through it. Like, it is what it is. But it's not what you do at the moment when you're going through that stuff. It's what you're going to do so you can get out of it. If not, life is only going to get harder for you, man. And that's what's going to happen to every single person. You got to work now. Stop thinking. Stop analyzing. Going through an analysis process to stop. Whatever it is you want to do, just do it. Just You know, I get it. Like, that's why all these people are doing like stupid videos of dances and porn and stuff, like on OnlyFans and stupid fucking TikToks, because the algorithm doesn't appreciate real forms of education. I get it. But you can change that. If you don't like that, you can change that. Figure it out. Have your creativities. Like, even with what I'm doing right now, this kind of scares me to do, straight up, but I know I have to do it because it's the only way I'm going to find my natural voice. And you guys will help me with that. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I just want to punch half of you in the face. Maybe, I don't know. But it's cool though. It's cool, bro. I hope this video helps you out or pisses you off or just makes you laugh. I don't know, man. But if you liked it or thought it was funny or just like compelling, or you just resent me now in any way, just subscribe anyways, because it would just be good for the hilarity of it in 10 years and when I'm coming a completely different person, because everyone evolves and changes and adjusts themselves. So who I am today isn't who I'm going to be in 10 years, and I hope you guys will forgive me for that. When you run into this type of video in 10 years from now, you realize, like, I am not the same person. It's like people like Andrew Tate, for things he said 10 years ago, he doesn't agree with anymore. I hope you guys don't do the same thing with me, but if it is, it's cool. It's cool. I'll prove it with my words and my actions and my results as time goes on. With that, I bid you guys adieu.